Hello. Ooh, da, 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 da. This is How It Continues, Halloween edition, episode 259. Creepiness. This is a weekly podcast posted up every Monday in which we talk about video games and related topics. It goes up on howtocontinue.com as an MP3, but it also goes up before that on youtube.com/howtocontinues as a video where you can get spooked. Ooh, because my fingers are doing this in the camera.
I'm legitimately terrified.
We should have discussed this prior to starting. I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm your host, Stafa. Woo. And with me today, or this week, I have Kaylee.
Woo!
And I have Chris.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
You're such a fine pooper.
You nonconformist.
I can't help myself.
How you two doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Been a while. It's been a long time.
Yep, it has been a while. But I'm glad to have you back on.
It's going to be a really long podcast.
So, since this podcast is going up on Halloween, we're going to be talking about creepy games. Games with creepy premises and stuff like that. I'm going to quit that.
Thank you. Your audience thanks you as well.
I'm just disappointed we didn't dress up as like zombies or something for this.
I thought you are dressed up as zombies.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I thought you were. See, now you're telling stories to me saying that you're not dressed up as zombies. I'm pretty sure you are.
I didn't want to scare you. That was it.
Okay. It's just your webcam's not working.
Right, yeah.
Zombie
Well,
costume.
it was so bad it broke my webcam.
Right.
Oh, okay. Was that scary? All right. So, main topic, we're going to talk about games with creepy premises or creepy moments or just creepiness. That's going to be the theme, creep.
I think you're thoroughly, getting that out there, that creep theme, yeah.
Not the type of creep that, like, stalks behind people and, like, takes
Goes,
pictures of them. Not that kind. I'm talking about, like, just, like, more like, ooh.
No, I think that's the same category, honestly.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if you hear that, the police siren
Yeah.
or ambulance or whatever it is.
It almost sounds like you're woo.
Oh, okay. But yeah. Anyways, after that, we got some quick announcements. We got some news, or a few news topics, not many. And yeah, that's it for this podcast. Have a nice day. We'll see you guys later.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Anyways, one quick thing before we get started on our main topic is that all opinions expressed on the show are of our own. It is owned by our own. It is a representative of our own. It is not of our employers, whether past, present, or future. So, yes. Hashtag don't fire Stafa.
Can't fire us, though. Our opinions are out of Continue's opinions. Yeah, that's what it is.
No, your opinions are yours. So anyways, let's talk about some games with, like, creepy premises. Creepy premise.
I thought you were going to talk about the news first.
No.
Oh, the news is afterwards? Oh, okay. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, news last.
Were you paying attention to when he said the
I
order?
guess not. I guess not.
It's even on the outline. It says number 3, news.
That's true. That's true. And I got the outline up too.
Yeah.
All right.
So should we start with maybe some more interesting games since the ones Chris want to talk about are boring?
I only play a specific type of game.
I think we should start with the VR ones and the augmented reality.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. We'll just mark them off on the list as we go along. That way, you don't have to go in order or whatever.
Since I'm ruining
So Chris and Kaylee compiled a lovely list of games that they decide are worth mentioning, and we'll just go through them and talk about some of these games. So yeah. So you want to talk about the VR?
Yeah, we'll start out with VR. I'll talk about VR, and I guess Kaylee can talk about some of the AR stuff that's coming out. That's really cool. So we have an HTC Vive, and it's a really awesome little device. Been playing a bunch of different horror games on there. There's still not a ton of really good content out there. There's content, but it's like demos, quick versions of games, but some of the really it's enough to show the potential of the platform. Like VR horror games are going to be able to reach a level that no other horror genre has ever been able to reach. I mean, including movies, anything along those lines. It's all going to be you will get terrified by these VR horror games, even the crappy ones that are out right now. Which not to say that they're necessarily crappy, they're just short. But games like Brookhaven Experiment, the Visitor, we played that with my family not too long ago. Had my had my grandmother hooked up to an HTC Vive watching.
You trying to kill your grandma?
I almost did. It was hilarious. We actually have a recording of that. We may want to attach that to this podcast.
Chris, you're the worst.
It was so funny. It was possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It terrified my grandmother and my sister and Kaylee. And I think we had Seth do it too, my brother.
Yeah.
Everybody was just, and they had already seen like what was happening because it's showing on the TV and on the the Vive, and so even the people that had already seen what happens on the TV still got scared when they did it in the HTC Vive. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. To elaborate just a little bit, so the Visitor game that he's talking about is a game. It's a pretty short game out for the Vive that you're sitting on a bed the entire time, and essentially you're like in this kind of, your house is haunted. There's some kind of ghost apparition thing torturing you.
Is this on Steam?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look this up real quick.
And yeah, so there's no motion at all. You're just trapped on this bed looking around a room, and it produces some very hilarious scary moments. It's only hilarious.
This game's like 90 cents.
Yeah,
super cheap. And it's probably only like 5, maybe 10 minutes worth of actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the concept with the VR horror games, just having it so close to you and in your head just makes it innately more terrifying than any other game.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. And then the other probably top ones at least that I've played so far, which we haven't played hardly anything in the past like 2 months. So this is all stuff that was out, when the Vive first came out. Was the Brookhaven Experiment is like a first person shooter type game. It's they're not really zombie things that you're shooting, but they're basically terrifying stuff that shows up and you have to shoot it. Horde Z is very much like if Left 4 Dead were put in the VR world. You're just kind of going from point A to point B, and stuff's coming to get you. And the premise of it isn't all that terrifying, especially with execution not being nearly as good as games like Left 4 Dead or any of the other Horde zombie games. But just the fact that you're in this environment. It's just there's been some times that it's actually fairly terrifying, and I'm a fairly experienced first person shooter type guy, and I mean it gets you. So those are probably the 3 top games that I've played so far. On the Vive. Not to say that there's not any other ones that are great, but yeah. And we're looking forward to the PlayStation VR coming out. Actually having that discussion as to whether or not we want to get that.
It already came out.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing it.
See, you should have paid attention to the news.
Yeah, when they come out, like last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't long ago, but yeah. So we're looking forward to a lot of that. I mean, I think that VR is I think that horror and creepiness is one of the aspects where VR is really going to shine.
One thing about VR that is going to enhances the horror games is that it's literally in your face.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who get scared easily, one of their reaction to a horror, something that they'll see like a jump scare, is to divert their eyes and look away. You can't do that in VR.
Yeah.
It's gonna always be in your face.
Yeah, and the one thing with playing some other VR games too, once you're in the VR, like your body kind of, thinks that's
acclimates to it. Yeah,
that it's real. Like I've played a lot of Job Simulator on there, and so like I do the Chef Job Simulator and open up the fridge and actually confused that I didn't feel any cold air. And with the horror games, that makes it even better because then you still feel like it's you. And when you turn around and there's like a ghost there, you literally feel like there is a ghost right in front of you.
Yeah.
Ooh, livecontinues.com.
All right, so that's a good segue into augmented horror. So I wanted to bring up this one, sorry, can you guys hear me twice?
No.
Oh, okay, good. I just hear me twice, but that's fine. So there's this one augmented horror game, which I had heard about it originally. I think they did a Kickstarter called Night Terrors, and I don't think it's actually out yet. I think it's still in development, but what it is it's actually an app game on your phone. And so it's I guess if I use the similar example like Pokemon Go right now, so it'll use your camera to actually record your own room. So the game takes place in your house, but then the phone will track your location and will actually take control of like your phone calls, your text messages, all sorts of stuff on your phone. And so you can be walking around your house looking at your phone, and then all of a sudden you see a ghost or some kind of monster in your phone, or you get some kind of creepy phone call with added noises and everything, which I think is scary because that's similar to VR, walking around your own house and actually seeing terrifying things is a little bit scarier than, just playing as some kind of, character in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm kind of, if you haven't heard about this Night Terrors game, it's pretty cool. I'm excited for once it comes out. I don't know if I'm going to be, actually it's launching on Halloween. And I think it'll be really creepy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it in the house because it'll be scary.
Yeah, so augmented reality has a lot of real advantages. I mean, you're walking around areas that you're familiar with, and things are popping out through your phone in this case. But moving forward, things like I imagine the next version of the Gear VR, which I think there are actually a few apps that work with the Gear VR with augmented reality, but not so good yet. But something that would be a headset that you would wear and walk around your house. It's got a camera on it, so you can see basically through the headset. But then you have augmented graphics that show up in your real space. So you go into your bathroom and you have a ghost popping out of the mirror or something along those lines. It's there's a lot of potential there. It could be really cool.
You know what's really creepy? Augmented reality. That face swap app.
Yeah.
That's the creepiest out of augmented realities.
Yeah, I've seen some screenshots of some crazy stuff.
Why is that a good idea to swap faces? Especially when it swaps faces with like something that's not even human.
Yeah.
Like a doll or a cartoon or
Yeah.
It's the worst.
So yeah, that's pretty much the VR AR stuff that we wanted to talk about. Do you have any preferences on games that we want to start discussing?
As far as like the other games we got on the list, I don't know. We can start with some of the horror stuff. Well, like I haven't played like the Silent Hill games, but I've heard a lot of good things about them. You want to talk about that, Kaylee?
Switch into the Silent Hill one, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, all the Silent Hill games are generally pretty good and scary. I specifically picked Shattered Memories for this one, just as far as I guess creepy premises. So
Isn't that the one that like it's on the Wii and you can't fight in that game?
yeah, you have to run a lot, and then also it involves there's this whole aspect in the game where you have to it'll cut into scenes in the game where you're actually a character and you're in a psychologist's office,
Yeah.
and so you're doing these tests, and they're like little like what do you see in this picture kind of test, and how how you the player answer that question will actually change some aspects of the game. So, and it's Silent Hill anyway, so it's all creepy and just generally terrifying. But I specifically picked Shattered Memories just because of that aspect where you're doing these therapy sessions that kind of control what happens to you, and also you can't attack anything, and the games are horrible in themselves because they take away all your defenses.
Chris, I can kind of hear some like wind or something coming from your mic.
Oh, yeah. Is that better?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Silent Hill 2. Like people seem to say that one's the best.
Uh-huh.
You want to mention that real quick? Because I never played it, so.
Yeah. Hang on one second. Silent. It's been a long time since I've played the earlier Silent
That was
Hills.
the one that you're on the hill and it's silent.
Thorough.
We can really tell that Stoffa hasn't played them because I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure they're either silent or if there are hills involved.
Nailed it. I'm the best.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't really played Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
Even though that is one of the better ones. I played the Room, Silent Hill 4, I think, The Room,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which was creepy. I mean, they all just have these creepy aspects. The characters in all the Silent Hill games are just great. The enemies, because they're all generally some kind of deformed humanoid thing, and Pyramid's probably one of the most iconic horror game figures, at least in my opinion, that exists. And and all the nurses are just scary because they're just these faces or faceless, human things.
Yeah. That's a great description.
I know, right?
Faceless human things.
Well, I feel like most of your listeners are probably picturing them anyway and going, yeah, no faces.
Aren't they like
and nurses?
very what's the word, like crooked? Like they're like very twisted
Yeah,
in body.
they're like they did a lot of yoga in their first lives.
Namaste.
Broken body forms.
Yeah. Let's stick with like the Japanese theme and talk about Fatal Frame.
Oh, you're picking all the K ones. I see how this
Well,
works. That's fine.
You wanted to talk about the interesting ones first, so
So
maybe you shouldn't have mentioned that then.
so Fatal Frame series. I actually, well, of course, my name's next to this one, so I like this series. At least the earlier games, like Fatal Frame 1 and 2. So, for anyone that doesn't know, essentially you have you're a girl going around with a camera fighting ghosts. Or, well, I guess that's the general premise, we'll say.
I don't know if fighting is the right word, but
Well, fighting kind of, but that's your only means of attack.
Yeah.
So it is one of those games where, like, innately there's just more. It's a little bit scarier because, some of the other games we'll probably talk about later, if you have like a gun or a shotgun or a chainsaw or something to attack your enemies, that makes you feel innately more powerful. But in the Fatal Frame games, all you have is this camera. And while the camera can be upgraded and things like that, and it will save you, your only defense is to take pictures of the ghosts that are trying to kill you. And I just feel like that's a little bit scarier. And yeah, so just as far as the entire storyline with the Fatal Frame, they're, generally just scary because you're in some kind of, completely abandoned town where pretty much everyone is dead by some very tragic accident or deliberate cause.
What was the accident or deliberate cause?
How much information are we supposed to, I don't know how much is plot
I don't know.
spoilers.
Is that spoiler territory?
I don't know. But,
Right.
as far as we could talk about some ghosts too, there's a lot of creepy doll kind of scenarios, like the old, well, not really old, but, Japanese dolls getting possessed and floating around trying to kill you. There's themed ghosts, if you will. So there's like a broken neck woman, and she'll just come around and, the ghosts look gruesome. There's the broken neck woman literally has her neck broken, kind of lobbing around as she's attacking you. Pretty much.
I'm broken neck woman.
And they even, those games too, they'll even have they do the multiple endings, which Silent Hill actually does multiple endings too. I'm pretty sure a lot of them have multiple endings. Where how you do throughout the entire game kind of can get you, usually on your first playthrough, an absolutely horrible ending. And, to get a good, even the good endings are still bad by most definitions. But if anyone here hasn't played like the Fatal Frame games, they really should. Anyone listening?
I have not.
Or the two people here, other people.
I've watched some people play Fatal Frame. I played a few minutes of technically both Fatal Frame 1 and 2. Is there a third one? Is there a Fatal Frame 3?
There's like 4. There's definitely a 3. I think there's even more than 4.
Oh, well, I actually didn't know about the other games. I thought it was just the first and second one. But I've played both of those games, not thoroughly, not through the whole game, but certainly got a good feel of the mechanics and the terror that it puts you through. It's very effective. Very effective on the creepiness scale. Like it's a freaking creepy game.
Yeah, so there's at least 3 numbered games, Fatal Frame 1, 2, and 3, and then they also have a few spin-offs.
Gotcha.
So yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty involved story. I think Fatal Frame 2 was probably the best one, at least so far, in my opinion.
Well, that's
why we
that's
get
how
that
it is with
disclaimer,
every
right?
series. You got
It's always number 2, and then number 3
Silent Hill
always
2, Resident Evil 2, everything 2. Super Mario Bros. 2.
Men in Black 2.
that was horrible.
So, Chris, tell me about Alien Isolation.
Alien
Why was this
Isolation. Oh my God. Have you ever played Alien Isolation?
No.
You have
I
never
played Alien Colonial Marines for like
no,
30
it's not.
minutes.
They're not. It doesn't even.
That
It
doesn't
doesn't.
count.
It is not in the same universe. It's
What are you talking about?
Alien-
They're both in the
Only in
Alien
stories.
universe.
they involve xenomorphs. Yes, they're in the Alien series. Yes, but Alien Isolation is it's not even a horror game. It's a freaking terror game. I actually haven't even finished it yet. I got about 2/3 of the way through, and I don't know. Life happened. I never really got back into it. Though, with Halloween coming around, I kind of want to get back into it a little bit. Basically, it's just one alien. It works the same way as the original Alien movie.
Well, that's not scary. Just headshot it.
You should play this game. You cannot kill the alien. It is.
Just kill it right at the beginning and you win.
Then you're good. So, yeah, this alien has this godlike ability to either evade or just take anything that you throw at it, and you're getting hunted in the whole game. The entire, from the start to finish, this one alien is hunting you. And you have to hide from it. You have to, try and evade it, try and outsmart it. And there's other things going on in the game as well. You've got the whole Weyland-Yutani conflict going on. So there's other things that can kill you as well. But they're just kind of small distractions away from the terrifying alien that will kill you. Like you are going to die multiple times. You get flamethrowers, you get guns, you get rifles, you get all sorts of weapons in this game, and none of it has any effect on the alien. All it does is buy you time. The alien might go, "Oh, you shot me. I'm gonna go run away for a second."
Oh, it says that?
I'll be right back.
No, it just pops up a BRB and then
Yeah, BRB. BRB. Gotta remedy that hole you put in my head. But yeah, it's the premise of the game is that you're getting hunted by a single alien, and it is terrifying to the core. It will disturb you. And if you play it at night with the lights off, with the sound turned up, you're gonna scream. It's gonna scare you. I'm a grown ass man. It's terrifying.
Hey, Chris, watch the language.
I'm a grown man. Terrifying. You're gonna bleep that? Is that how that works?
No. I'm too lazy to bleep anymore.
But yeah, anybody who hasn't played Alien Isolation, I know it's been out for a little while now, but it's out for a bunch of consoles. It's out for the PC. It's a great game. It's it will restore your faith in the horror genre if you have lost any faith in it. It is very scary. And
So tell me about Alien vs. Predator. Which Alien vs. Predator are you wanting to talk about? Is it like the one that came out like in 2001?
Well, both of them. I mean, honestly, the original Alien vs. Predator was terrifying, especially for its time. It was very creepy. You had voices that were playing and you would hear voices in this game. It was very, very creepy. Everything about that game was very creepy.
the Predator voices, right?
Yeah, the Predator voices. Yeah, because the Predator can talk, and he can record other people's voices and play them back. It's that was very scary. Though I didn't play that much of the original AVP game. I played a little bit of it. It was very good, but I played mostly the multiplayer aspects of the games that came out afterwards. So the most recent AVP game, though, I think it was just called Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah.
It had 3 separate campaigns. You could play through the campaign as a Marine, play through the campaign as an alien, play through the campaign as a Predator. And it really had 3 separate feels to the game. Like, playing through the game as an alien was very action oriented. I mean, it was very stalkerish. Very you had to kind of outsmart people and try and figure out how to kill them. And the Predator was kind of similar in that you had to outsmart people, set traps, and basically just slaughter things. But the Marine playthrough was just sheer terrifying. Basically, you're this weak little Marine. You got a gun, but there's aliens that are trying to kill you, and there's predators that are trying to kill you, and it's really scary. Similar situation as the Alien Isolation, other than the fact that like you could kill the aliens. There were swarms of aliens. There were multiple. I don't know if there were multiple predators or just one. I can't actually remember. But that Marine playthrough, you felt underpowered, and it was a very the aliens and the predators were both playing mind games with you to try and get you scared and corner you, and it was pretty creepy, pretty scary experience.
I remember the older game also had 3 campaigns as well.
Did it?
Yeah, like I remember there. Like I played like the alien. You start off as the larva, and you're supposed to like basically get into a human, and then the screen blacked out, and then next thing you like see like some like intestines and stuff, and you bite your way out of the human and like just burst out of their chest. And also there was a predator and a Marine campaign as well.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It did have all 3 of those.
Yeah,
but
they're very, very good games.
It was very memorable, just like biting my way outside of the human's body.
Yeah.
Like, just bursting out of his chest and just being like this little xenomorph.
Yeah,
xenomorph, like just big enough to like bite dudes, and like you had to like eat, like I think you had to eat like rats and cats and stuff like that to get bigger. I can't remember. I want to say that's how it was, but I might be completely wrong and just making stuff up.
That sounds about right. Yeah, it was a very long time ago when I played the original AVP game, and I don't honestly remember much of the Alien campaign in the most recent AVP game. I do specifically remember the Marine and the Predator one, but
yeah. It was a while I played it too. It was like back in high school.
The original or the new one?
What's that?
Which one did you play back?
The original one.
The old one.
Oh, that is way old.
Yeah. Like there's no way I'd play the new one back in high school.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that is true. I was trying to think. I was like, the new one came out like forever ago. But I guess
no one
you were in high school forever ago.
5 years ago or so.
Maybe. Yeah, 5, maybe even more than 5. I don't know.
5 or 6. Either way, I was definitely not in high school back then.
I take it back. I take back the statement.
Yeah. Let's I want to talk about a game real quick. Give you guys a break. So this game, I didn't play much of it myself because I'm not a big fan of point-and-click adventure games. But it did interest me because of the premise and the story. It's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's based off of a 7-page short story by Harlan Ellison. And it's titled the same, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And basically, they made a video game adaptation of this short story, and also, Harlan Ellison, the author, he had a big part in this game, so that he expanded more on the story, and he also did voice work as well for it. So basically, the premise is that this is in the future. There are 3 supercomputers built by USA, Russia, and China, and they are basically waging war on each other with these 3 supercomputers that are like super advanced like far beyond humans, and one of them wins and takes over the other 2, so it's basically all 3 of them combined into one supercomputer now. and it goes by the name Am, A-M, and because I think, therefore I am. Yeah. So it basically kills off all of the human race except for 5 humans, and they're all like from like different time periods as well. One of them's like from like a caveman, basically. I don't know how it did it, but either way, it got like 5 humans from different time periods, and it immortalized them just so it can torture them forever. And they are there for Am's entertainment, and Am gets bored, because Am can't doesn't have feelings or anything. So like it wants to get entertained. So it puts them into like these like virtual reality, like basically creating scenarios for them to have them go into quests that they experience things that they went through earlier in their lives that that has to do with like their fatal flaws as to why Am chose them, and these fatal flaws also ruined their lives. So Am wants them to fail, and so that it can take enjoyment even more so, because it's already tortured them and so much and made them immortal, and it just wants them to fail in like a psychological sense, and get entertainment out of that. So yeah, I don't want to like I know what happens at the end of the game. I don't want to spoil that because it's very interesting. But yeah, it's just a really creepy premise. I mean, it explores things like it goes through the characters, different, all 5 characters, different stories, and focuses on their character traits, such as paranoia, rape. One of them has to do with genocide because he was linked with like the World War II, and yeah, it's a pretty crazy game, and also the graphics for its time was pretty good. Like really well drawn pixel art, so it makes it even more creepy because of you can see the freaked out expressions of their faces, and it just looks nasty. It was hard for me to play it because it came out at a time before, like right before point and click adventure games have advanced to where you can like just click on something, like click on left click to interact, right click to like explore an item, and it has like a really clunky interface. Like you have to select the action first, and then you click on the item, and it just feels very dated. But I mean, if you have the patience for that type of gameplay, I think it's definitely worth checking out because of its unique premise. Am, the computer, is voiced by Harlan Ellison himself, because when he wrote the dialogue for the character, he wrote it in like his head with his voice, so it just makes sense for him to be the voice actor for it, and it sounds super creepy. And he also said when you want to make this a game, he didn't want to make a game where you can win. So yeah,
that in itself is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, like, just look at the title of the game. I have no mouth and I must scream. It's messed up. So all right, let's move on to another game or series of games. Which one you guys want to talk about?
I have one I think we should do. We should do So we grouped a few games together: the Dead
Mhm.
by Daylight, Damned, and upcoming Friday the 13th.
All right,
Because they're
let's,
all
let's start with
very
that.
So those games are all very similar in the one of your friends is the monster essentially, and everyone else is the survivor. And so we picked. These games are just we've actually played a lot of Damned in particular, and then some of Dead by Daylight. And in those games, as far as horror games go, it's just more terrifying when it's a live person who is actually your enemy, and usually they're pretty creepy, terrifying monsters, and you're trying to run from them.
Mhm.
And so I think and Chris, you can chime in whenever you want, but like Damned. So I'm not just the whole talker, but with Damned, it's actually they have some of the monsters. There's one in particular that's I think her name's Mary. Yeah, they call her Mary. So she's like this.
That's a scary name.
Yeah, really. She's one of those creepy kind of The Ring, The Grudge-esque ladies. Kind of
Japanese
long black
horror
hair. Yeah,
horror girl.
yeah, and a white dress. And so characters in a lot of these in both Damned and Dead by Daylight, because Dead by Daylight has at least 2 monsters, right, Chris?
Yeah, Dead by Daylight currently, when I played it, only had
they
2, I think.
2. And Damned has 4 monsters now. And each monster actually has a very specific set of abilities. And so essentially, like in Damned, you're a group of...
I think there's 5, actually.
5 survivors. You're talking about monsters?
Yeah, sorry, I was talking about Dead by Daylight. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so so in Damned, you're actually generally, you're in a room or you're in a building, like an asylum or something, and there's 4 players, and you have to go and find keys. But while you're trying to find these keys to actually make your escape, one of your friends or somebody is this terrifying monster that's chasing around, and their objective is to kill you. So those games they get pretty terrifying even when you're playing them with your friends, because generally your friends are just mean and they enjoy tormenting you. Or is that just our
I'm watching
friends?
the video for Damned. I mean, this is basically it's like a more horror version of Evolve.
Yeah, all these games
Oh,
are kind of in that area. The 4v1 type. What do they call it? Non-symmetrical.
Asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical battleground game or whatever, something like that.
Multiplayer.
Whatever.
Yeah, Evolve would be a good comparison to it. Except these ones are actually like horror versus aliens and stuff. These ones are like, full-on horror, terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some sections in Evolve that can get kind of scary, but with Evolve, it's much more like, the beginning of the game, if you're the monster, you're trying to run from the other people, and then as the game gets further along, the roles kind of reverse, and then you become the super powerful monster that's trying to kill all the people.
Yeah.
And
the hunter becomes the hunted.
Exactly, yeah. So that aspect of it doesn't really exist in the Dead by Daylight and the Damned and the Friday the 13th game. I mean, they're much more much more of an escape. You're trying to get away. There's the one powerful being. In the case of Dead by Daylight, it's it goes through much more of the horror slasher type movies. So you got like Michael Myers, this trapper guy, hillbilly guy, the Wraith. So these characters hunt in various different ways, and your goal is to kill your friends, and your friend's goal is to get away, either individually or separately, or as a team. I think generally the idea is that you'll get away as a team, but that in our experience that fairly rarely happens.
Dead by Daylight's made by Starbreeze. They're pretty good.
Yeah, it's a really good game. It's fun times.
Yeah, Starbreeze. Starbreeze today is different from Starbreeze of like 10 years ago, but they made like Chronicles of Riddick game and the first Darkness game and Syndicate.
Dead by Daylight is definitely much more polished looking than Damned, but I think Chris and I were talking about it earlier though that Damned is probably scarier and creepier. Just that in Dead by Daylight you can still, in the levels are these big open fields kind of where it leaves a lot of room to run. So even if the enemy's there trying to get you, you can still run in any direction to get away from them. And then you can also stumble upon like these little trapdoor escape routes. Even if everyone dies and you're the only one left, you can stumble upon this little trapdoor thing and survive the level. But in Damned, you're in a building, and they're always like single rooms. So the rooms have like one entry point, or one or maybe two exits, if that. So if the monster comes in and finds you in the room, you literally cannot get away. And there's no extra escape route. If you don't find all the keys, you're dead. And that's creepier.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that Damned is just in general just a harder game, both from the survivor and the killer standpoint. I mean, you have very very little information available to you. You can't see very well. Everything's dark. You're in these procedurally generated buildings that the rooms are in all sorts of different in all sorts of different directions, and they are rooms. So if the person gets in there, if the bad guy gets in there, like, you're pretty much done for. I mean, if you get caught in the wrong place, there's not much coming back. There's struggle mechanics and ways to get to fix your mistakes in Dead by Daylight that just doesn't exist in Damned. So it makes the scales are a little different as far as the scariness is concerned.
Just a quick question about this list we have here. Why is Killing Floor on the list?
Why you gotta hate on my Killing Floor? Right? Killing Floor
is more like a B movie.
Killing Floor is a scary. It's a creepy premise. All right. You're in this post-apocalyptic.
You have like an evil robot Santa dude, gingerbread
if
man.
Killing Floor were a book, that would be it'd be a pretty scary book. I mean, it's a very creepy premise. The action in Killing Floor, once you play the game, yes, it's very, kind of similar to Left 4 Dead, but Left 4 Dead's on the list too. I mean, it's kind of it's an action shooter, just destroy everything, stand your ground,
I'd say
survive. Yes, but the premise of the
Left
plot
4 Dead
behind
takes itself a little bit more seriously than Killing Floor.
I mean, yeah, I think the weapons in Killing Floor are much more like realistic. I mean, the Killing Floor.
You have a gun that shoots electricity.
Hey, have you ever seen the sirens up close in Killing Floor? They're
terrifying. Everything about them is terrifying. Like Killing Floor 2, if you play that game by yourself one time,
Killing Floor is
turn the volume up, play it by yourself.
Evil Dead. It's not quite a horror movie. It's more of a comedy.
I think you've been playing with friends that are too good. I think that's the issue. I think your Killing Floor friends are too good. Play that game by yourself. It is terrifying.
It's a multiplayer game. Why would I want to play that by myself?
Well, if you play with crappy people, then it's kind of like playing by yourself too. So find some pubs and play Killing Floor. It's the premise of the game is that it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland type scenario. There's been this bio virus that's been engineered and
what's more creepy than Killing Floor? Black Ops Zombies.
I mean, there's people that would argue that that's a scary premise too. I refuse to allow Call of Duty of any sort into any kind of good list. But
well, you haven't played Black Ops Zombies.
That's true.
You don't understand.
But yeah, I would certainly say Killing Floor is not on the same scale as some of these other games, but I would put it in the same category as Left 4 Dead as far as creepy factor. I mean, there's a fairly creepy world that you're dropped into, and
Oh,
the gameplay itself kind of.
You know what Black Ops 3 Zombies has that Killing Floor doesn't? Jeff
that?
Goldblum.
Yeah, I think
he has you there.
I think I can't argue with that. I honestly, yeah, I can't argue that.
Jeff Goldblum. Let's go over like maybe one or two more of these and wrap it up, because this list is quite long. There's no way we can do it all.
They were all ideas. All right, we wanted to have enough talking points.
Oh no, I appreciate this large list. It's better than a small list, but I'm just saying, like,
so definitely,
we're not going on forever. Let's just do like maybe one or two more. You guys want to pick?
Well, I definitely we don't have to go into real deep context in any of these, but I definitely think that Doom and Fear, both those series, both need to be mentioned as far as the creepiness is concerned. Again, you could probably make the argument that they're kind of in that Killing Floor category, but like they're by themselves extremely scary games. I mean, all of the Fear series games are terrifying. They're psychologically.
I played the first one and it was messed up.
It is so messed up. They will scar you. It is a first-person shooter. It is an action game. It is a very good first-person shooter, very good action game. But
yes.
At the base of it, it is also really, really scary. The person that you're against in Fear, what's her name, Alma. She is terrifying. She messes with your mind in all three of those games. And honestly, I think that it is, Fear by itself is probably the upper echelon of first person horror. I don't think it really gets much better than that, though. I don't think that there would have been a Fear if there wasn't a Doom. And Doom was the first game that I ever played, first computer game at least. It goes down in history. There's no way that anybody that's listening to this podcast doesn't have a thorough understanding of what Doom is. And Doom 3 was freaking terrifying, especially when it came for the time when it came out. That was a horror game to the core.
It kind of departed from the other Doom games, which were more action.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. I think that's why the audience. Whether people like it or not, it's very split with Doom 3, because a lot of people want it to be an action game. And what was the expansion? It was like Resurrection of Evil or something like that.
Yeah.
The expansion was a lot more action oriented, and people liked that.
Yeah.
Or at least people who didn't like Doom 3 liked
that one more. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very split.
Yeah. I mean, the original Doom 3, the lighting mechanics in that game, especially for the time. I think it came out when I was in late high school or maybe early college. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but I know that my computer was garbage at the time and couldn't run it, and so I had to use somebody else's computer to play through the game, and the lighting effects were just next generation. It was stuff that you have never seen before. Shadows and ambient lighting was just unbelievable in that game.
Yeah,
it really
I remember my computer couldn't handle it, so I waited for the Xbox version to come out, which actually looked very good, compared to the PC version.
Mm-hmm.
It looked really good because they built it from the ground up for the Xbox.
Right. Yeah. And I guess Kayla, you want to?
Yeah, I know what I'll end with. I'll just talk about one more for time, but it's definitely going to be Eternal Darkness, because we haven't talked about that one yet.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a game.
Classic.
It's a game, and it's on the list. So, Safa, have you ever played Eternal Darkness?
A little bit of it.
Yeah. So this is probably my favorite creepy game, probably of all time. And so, the full name, it's Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem, and it came out when I played it. It came out on the GameCube, I believe.
Yeah, I have it. In fact, it's somewhere in this room.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine's like at my parents' house somewhere, buried, maybe. But anyway, so with this game, you play as this I think the main character's this woman, and you're playing as her, and she kind of goes to her grandpa's house or something, and it's like this abandoned creepy mansion. And so the story is kind of,
There we go.
oh look, you did find it. So yeah, the story itself in the game wasn't like the creepy factor I had with it. The creeping parts I thought about this game were that it would have like fourth wall breaking aspects. So in the game you had this you had a sanity meter, and when you would lose your sanity, stuff would start randomly happening to your character. You'd kind of hear a lot of like screaming and moaning in the background too, like just creepy, ghosty, very similar to Stoppa's "ooh," but creepier. Okay, I take it back. Not very similar. And some of the things I remember from playing it is, you'd be playing your character, you'd just be running around, entering a room, and then all of a sudden the TV would mute. So all of the sound goes away, and it shows a little mute button up top. And then it would just flip back, and you'd have your audio again. And it did a bunch of different aspects. Like you'd be running along, and all of a sudden your character's head would pop off, and when you're playing it, these things really shock you because you don't expect it. You could open up a door and your character runs down into a group of enemies, and it pops up on the screen and says the GameCube controller has been disconnected, and you just watch your character die.
Yeah.
And then you flip back.
Yeah.
And
what? I just want to bring up real quick, like Batman Arkham Asylum. A lot more people played that game than Eternal Darkness. And if you're calling that in Batman Arkham Asylum, when you get the Scarecrow drug,
yeah.
It kind of, the game makes it looks like the game glitches out, and then it's like it makes it look like it reboots. So a lot of people who are playing it are like, what the heck? My disc is scratched or something, and they get pissed. See, the Eternal Darkness did all that stuff first.
Yeah. Yeah, back when you didn't even expect it or understand it at all. And then there were just other very creepy things like blood dripping from the walls and walking into a room and there's somebody hanging or something. And it was a very creepy game. If anyone hasn't played it, they should go and play it. And Staffa, you should go beat it.
Maybe. All right, let's wrap it up. Since we've been going down the list and talking about quite a few games. Anyways, listeners, let me know what game or game series do you find really creepy? Has a really creepy premise or creepy moments? Let me know.
Yeah, there's lots of games that we missed that not because they weren't creepy enough, but just because we didn't have personal experiences with them. But yeah, there's tons more out there.
Yeah, right into podcast@africantears.com. So, one thing that I can always rely on to not be creepy and be like a safe haven, and it doesn't scare me or anything, doesn't scare my grandma, any of that. You want to take a guess?
What is it?
Something obviously boring.
Is it?
Not boring at all. It's DreamHost. Yeah, DreamHost. They're a web service. They offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, and they're optimized to use content managers such as WordPress. Ooh. And many more features. All that just for $7.95 in U.S. currency a month. But it gets better. If you use the promo code AFContinues with no spaces, just one word, it'll waive away the set fee, get you a free domain registration. There you go. quick announcement. We can use iTunes reviews. If you use iTunes, please leave a review for the podcast. It would really help out the podcast. One of the most helpful things you could do for the show. So if you can leave a review, please do so. If you can't leave a review for whatever reason and you still want to help with the show, you can do so by sharing the podcast on social media such as Facebook, Tumblr, Reddit, whatever. Just tell a friend. If you don't like us, then tell an enemy. So anyways, let's move on to the news. And we don't have that many news topics this week, but we got a few. So let's talk about Titanfall 2. Just came out yesterday, and I don't have it.
Yeah, me neither.
It looks cool though. I want to get it,
Cool.
but I don't have the money right now. But yeah, Titanfall 2. This article says it doesn't have a season pass as dev jabs at the practice, and the developer wrote, "Remember when buying a game got you everything?" Yeah, I remember that.
Good old days.
Once you purchase Titanfall 2, your investment includes a full single-player campaign, full multiplayer maps and modes, and long-term support with no hidden costs. There we go, no hidden costs. And I think one of the main reasons why they did this is because in Titanfall 1, they had a season pass and they had DLC, and a lot of people did not buy that season pass, and it ended up fragmenting the community with people who are playing on the maps with the DLC and people who are just playing on the base maps. And at a certain point, they made like the DLC like $5 for everything, and then another point they just made everything for free. And at that point, the community was a lot better because everyone was playing the same maps. So, they definitely experimented with Titanfall 1, and it seems like, the results from that experimentation is that it's better to not have a season pass. Just release the maps.
Yeah.
And, they're not the only ones who are doing that. We got Overwatch, who are doing something similar. They've only released one map so far, but still, like they're not going to be selling any of the maps. So I like this new direction.
This new old direction.
Yes. Go back to just releasing maps and not like trying to sell.
Yeah, focus on selling your game, not the maps.
Yes. All right. Do you guys want to add anything to this?
No, not really. I haven't really played too much Titanfall. I played the original one for I don't know, like a week or so when it first came out, but it just didn't keep me.
I remember we tried to play it once, but there was we were having like an issue finding a game or something.
Yeah, that was like when it very first came out. Yeah,
I liked the first Titanfall, but
it seemed like it had a lot of it had a lot of potential. I just never. I don't know if it was my fault.
Missing content.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So, a game store in the UK, which is called Game. That's it. they're like the biggest video games retailer in the UK. They are charging people to use the PlayStation VR demos. So basically, what they got set up is £5 gets you 10 minutes, £10 gets you 20 minutes, and £15 gets you 30-minute demo. Their reasoning as to why they want to charge people for this demo is that they're saying that we trained our employees to set up a great experience for you and this and that, which just sounds like BS.
Well, I I don't have as much of a problem with that as long as they don't call it a demo. Like if you pay to use it and to play a game, that's one thing. But like don't call
they
it
do
a demo.
say that if you purchase the PlayStation VR after doing the demo, that you get reimbursed. Yeah. So I think what they're trying to do is just try to make sure that only people who are serious about getting a PlayStation VR
Try it.
try it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what if they started doing that with like next gen systems? You know, like what if you walked in there and like the Xbox One, you had to pay, or whatever Xbox will come out with next. You know, you had to pay like $5 to play.
I mean,
10 minutes.
like overall, I just don't like this practice because the PlayStation VR, any VR, it's a huge investment. You gotta be very certain that you want to buy into it before you buy it because it's really expensive. If you don't end up using it much, it just ends up being like an expensive toy that you wasted your money on.
Yeah.
So
you could buy it and then figure out it makes you motion sick in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you wear glasses, you want to make sure that it's comfortable wearing the headset on top of your glasses.
Yeah,
That's
I could
also a
understand like limiting gameplay, to be like, hey, you can only, use this. Because some people would, get on the VR demo and try to play it for like an hour and a half. So I could understand like limiting the amount of time people are on it. But I don't know if I can agree with charging for it.
Yeah, at that point, you're like trying to make your store into an arcade.
Yeah, definitely.
A really expensive arcade too.
Yeah, $5 for a few minutes. Or £5, I guess it's like what, $7? No.
Well,
$6. They have the US conversion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's right there on the article.
I forgot with Brexit, the pound's dying a little bit.
But either way, like I just don't like. I mean, I understand that they're trying to just get people who are serious about buying it, but VR is a thing that you want to get, in the hands of people so that they can be sold on it. So that's why I feel like this is. I don't agree with what they're doing here.
No, and I imagine if it took off on a large scale, the Sony would probably have a problem with it, just because, in Sony's mind, the more people that see this, the better. Unless it's a garbage product, I don't know. I haven't actually used the PlayStation VR, but if it's able to keep people from being sick and is able to give a tolerable experience, then everybody needs to check it out and see how they feel about VR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anything else on this, or do we want to move on?
No.
Okay. So last week we talked about the Nintendo Switch.
Wii.
Yep. No, it's not the Wii U. It's the Nintendo Switch. Come on, man. Pay attention. So, apparently on January 12th, Nintendo will have a big announcement. They'll give us the price, the specs, launch lineup, the titles that are going to be coming out. Everything we want to know, we will learn on January 12th. So they're going to... I feel like that's a really bad time to do it, because that's going to be right after everyone has, opened up their Christmas gifts and got the new PlayStation 4 Pro or their Xbox Scorpio.
But they're not. They're not launching the system in January. They're launching it in March. So
I feel like interest will be very low by then.
I could probably make the argument on the other direction. Everybody's playing with their new system, and here's another new system while you're playing with your new system. I don't necessarily disagree with the timing. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to get it with the release of these other systems. They probably missed out on some opportunity not releasing this thing before Christmas. But I think that there'll be plenty of people interested in in this product in January. I definitely think that I don't think it'll hurt them much.
What if since they're giving us like all this information in January, what if like they end up releasing it in July? We get all the information in January.
That would be a problem, yeah. I mean, but as far as the consumption,
they release it in July, and July is E3. What if they drop a Sega Saturn and say, "Welcome to E3. The Nintendo Switch is in store shelves right now." Because that's what Sega did with the Sega Saturn. It was in store shelves the same day that they announced it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Nintendo has learned from those types of mistakes. I don't think that they'll go in that direction, but I don't know. We'll see.
And I feel like the Nintendo consoles, like they have their own specific, market base that's different from Sony and Microsoft. And, a lot of those people who are going to buy the Nintendo consoles, like, maybe it doesn't even matter to them. They're just going to probably buy it regardless of when it comes out.
Because that's Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda, Mario, they're always, the fun kiddie games, the dance kind of games. I'm trying to think of the games we have for the Wii U, and it's like dance games and like sports. Wii Sports. It's not even like legit like those like Madden or any of those games.
Right.
But it's they have a very specific market base that's completely different than Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah, and I mean this product is completely different. I mean basically it's a shield with pieces of stuff that go with it. Which is honestly I've been debating buying a Shield tablet for a long time specifically for this reason, and I think we probably will get Nintendo Switch. I mean it's a cool concept, something I can play on the TV, pick up, take upstairs.
All right, so you guys are gonna be my friends who will buy all the expensive toys that.
She'll just come by and check it out.
Yeah, come by and check it out.
Yeah, you're welcome to come by.
I almost guarantee we're probably going to buy the Nintendo Switch. I don't know about the next. I don't know.
Well, you have the Vive,
probably,
so I'll try that at your place, and you're gonna get the Switch. I'll try that too.
Welcome to it.
Who knows?
This is how we support. Out of continues.
Nice.
Giving you the ability to test some of this stuff.
Nice. Out of continues approves. All right. Anything else before we move on?
No.
All right. Let's talk about good friend of the show, Mr. Uwe Boll.
I'm assuming that was sarcasm.
So, Uwe Boll, maybe some of you younger listeners aren't too familiar with him since he kind of disappeared for a while. But what was it? I'd say like in the 2000s, like earlier 2000s, he was putting out movie after movie after movie based off of video game franchises, and they're all terrible.
And then to make matters worse, he would always try to argue that it was like something wrong with the viewers.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the movie. It was all about the people not understanding the movie.
He put like an open invite to critics to box him in a boxing ring.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was also previously he used to be like a professional boxer too. So he would beat the snot out of these critics just to try to like prove that his movies are good, which your ability to box has nothing to do with the movie's good or not. Come on now. If someone needs to point that out to you, then you definitely have issues.
Yeah.
Well, either way, so he has retired from making movies, and he says that it's because the market is dead. you don't make any money anymore on movies because the DVD and Blu-ray market worldwide has dropped 80% in the last 3 years. That is the real reason. Where did you get that number from? That's a huge amount.
He always makes up weird excuses, and they're just bad movies.
Yeah.
It's always weird excuses. Sorry.
Like he was trying to get well, I think it was Assassin's Creed. He was trying to get the Assassin's Creed license, and Ubisoft refused to work with him. Like he was trying to get so many different big name video game titles licenses recently, and like they all refused to let him even touch those, and that's the real reason why, because he's unable to get the licenses for those games anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really seen a whole lot of Uwe Boll movies, but the few that I have, I'm not really shocked or upset by this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just in case anyone wanted a good example of Uwe Boll, there's that link in that article that says he did the Kickstarter campaign for the third Rampage movie. And so I clicked on it, and literally his last update is a video that's entitled "Blank You All."
Yeah. You F yourself.
Yeah, but he literally, like, I thought that was joking, because it says basically my message is F yourself. And his video is literally entitled "F You All."
Yeah, and like he goes on and starts like talking smack about Robert Downey Jr. for whatever reason, and then he's like, "I don't need to do this movie because of the money. I can golf every day for the rest of my life if I want. I don't need the money. I want to make this for you." It's like, no, don't make this movie for me.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I've seen that many of his movies because I learned my lesson, but I did watch. I watched House of the Dead, and I've watched the Alone in the Dark movie that he did, which was way back when.
With Christian Slater.
Yeah. And neither his, like, they just didn't even have any part of a premise. I guess House of the Dead technically had zombies, kind of. But
That's all you need, right?
I mean, it's just, I mean, there is technically a story to the actual House of the Dead video games, and the movie had none of that overlapped, except maybe
G
like
wasn't in there.
They might have had like a character's name
Named
that
G.
overlapped. But it was so, all of his movies just have nothing to do with the actual supporting content.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wants to blame it on, people.
Let's just for fun. Let's take a look at his filmography. So let's look at the Wikipedia page. Take a look at his
Blood Rain
films. All right. Where do the video? Okay, House of Dead looks like it's the first one.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah. Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain, In the Name of the King, which is based off of Dungeon Siege. Like, they didn't even put the name Dungeon Siege in the title. That's how bad it was. Because I recall it used to be, when it was in production, it was called Dungeon Siege, In the Name of the King, or something like that. But then he just called it In the Name of the King. Is that based off of a video game? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Blood Rain 2, Postal, Alone in the Dark 2, Far Cry, Rampage.
Is that Rampage like the old Sega Genesis Rampage? Is that what that is?
I guess not.
Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Gotcha.
It's I guess that's what he wanted to do, a Kickstarter to make a sequel of that or something. A third.
Yeah, there were a bunch of Blood Rain movies that were all bad.
In the Name of the King 2, Two Worlds. Two Worlds is a different game. You can't use that subtitle. Zombie Massacre. I don't think that's based off a game. In the Name of the King 3, The Last Mission.
Actually,
yeah.
Zombie Massacre is an adaptation of a game. We actually own the Wii game, Chris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a Wii game called Zombie Massacre that we have.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was that? Zombie Man. There it is. Yeah, the Wii game. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Nice.
You are totally right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There he
Yeah,
is,
I'm
looking
okay
all
with
mad.
this.
All right. So, anything else on you guys want to add to this this article?
I think we've ripped on Uwe Boll enough, right?
Good friend of the podcast, Uwe Boll. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. So, anyways, that's it as far as news. Unless you guys want to add anything.
No.
All right. Listener feedback. We have one person who wrote in. His name is Ubowl269. How you doing, Ubowl269? He writes in, I love Uwe's movies. Go F yourself. Thank you very much, Ubowl269. I'm not going to go F myself, but I appreciate the listener feedback. If you want to write into the podcast like Ubowl269, you can do so by writing to podcast@AppContinues.com. Anyways, let's wrap things up. Don't have anything I want to plug for this week. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review. You can subscribe to Google Play Music, or you can contact by email. That's podcast@AppContinues.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/AppContinues. All those things I just mentioned, they can be found on the website. It's www.appcontinues.com. Or you can also give me a tweet. I'm at SayedStafa. That's at SayedStafa. Do either of you use a Twitter?
Not really.
No.
Okay. All right. Don't tweet at Chris or Kaylee. I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Kaylee.
Yay! Thank you. Woo!
Chris.
Yay.
You gotta do at least one woo.
Woo.
Oh man. So scared. Anyways, with that said, I'm your host, Stafa. Thank you for joining me, and have a happy Halloween! Oh, and the Undertaker will come for you!